Ready yourself. My light shall decimate that mortal
form. Alright, let's talk about the arena, okay? Right off the bat, yes, the arena is auto battle. You don't get to manually control it, which sucks, but it only makes sense, right? You're fighting an AI team. It's only fair that you're AI controlled. If it was manual battle against AI, it'd be pretty hard to lose, to be honest with you. Like, you'd have to suck pretty hard. Anyway, that being said, you do have some control of the outcome based off of a lot of variables, and we're going to go over that in this video. This isn't like some pro level whatever. This is just a lot of things that I think a lot of newcomers don't know, and I'm going to throw in my 2 cents, and I'm actually going to show you my comps and how they work and how I figured this stuff out. I'm not a form reader. You know, I don't look into calculations and I don't do algorithms and all this crap to figure out like the optimum this, that, or the other thing. The way I figure out everything and the way I portray it to you is trial and error. So if I say something, it's not like I read this somewhere and a developer said this is truth. It's because I've tried it 100 times and this is the outcome. So whatever I say here is based off that. All right, moving forward. So we're going to take a look at your team compositions. It's definitely one of the factors that you have to take into account when doing the arena. You can't just pick 3 random units, throw them in there, and expect to win. It's not going to happen. And it's not just the units themselves. It's their subclass combinations. It's the espers you have on them. Of course, it's vision cards. But there's some variables in there that some people might not think about. And it's the TMRs. And it's not necessarily the stats on the TMRs, but whether or not the units use the active ability associated with them. And again, something I'm going to cover. We're going to talk about the importance of Val. We're going to talk about tank units. We're going to talk about support units. We're going to talk about, again, TMRs. And one thing that I've learned not to do is just take my 3 most powerful attack units and give them the espers that have the highest attack and vision cards that only have like attack support things and expect to win. It doesn't matter what rank you are. It doesn't matter what attack power you have. You can lose to a bunch of 89s, even if you're all maxed out, if you have a bad team comp and the other team has something reasonable. And I'll even show it to you. I will sacrifice my win streak, which right now isn't very high, thankfully, because I've been testing. And I'll just show you what that looks like. So, first of all, I'm going to go through my comp here, and then we're going to run a couple battles so we can actually see how this plays out. And like I said, a bunch of trial and error here. So, taking a look at my party formation, I have my healer in slot number 1, and I'm rocking her with obviously she's a magic user, so right now you're kind of between Shiva. I've seen some people use high TP % units. I've seen people use Ramu, you know, whatever works for you. Truth be told, whatever Esper you have the highest level of resonance with and supports magic is probably a good one to stick on your healer, right? Then I'm rocking Shiva here. She's 4-star. She's not all the way leveled up. These things are a pain in the ass to level up all the way, especially when you're an idiot like me and just spread your eggs out a bunch of different units instead of funnel them into one vision card like you probably should, right? Obviously, for the evasion buff, this is something that is always going to be a plus in PvP when there's like you're not fighting a bunch of 100% hit attackers, which is something I'll avoid. Now you'll notice that on her she has a really nice TMR. The one that she comes with is the boots that has a shield. The problem is I've run hundreds of PvPs with her on auto battle. She never uses it. Under no circumstances have I seen her pop that shield, and it is annoying because it's a pretty good shield. Like on her, it could take a pretty big hit from a relatively powerful melee attacker. Her sub skills, obviously, I'm going to be running Time Mage here. This is one of those things where if you have built her wrong, I guess you could say. I've heard tell not to pick up Immobilize, not to pick up Regen, things like that, just because she prioritizes them over other things. I didn't pick up Regen, but what I did pick up was I took Immobilize and I went for Haste. And I can tell you what she does right off the bat in my composition is her priority is like getting haste on everybody, which is the reason I have Emerald Echo as her passive, because it keeps haste on there an additional turn, which allows her to do something else. She will still use Immobilize, but I've only seen it used on rare occasions, and it's usually after like several of the opponent's units are already dead, because she is going to prioritize keeping haste up on everybody. The only time she won't is if there's a heavily damaged unit, then she's going to go pop her LB, or she's going to go use Cure. Okay, so because that TMR isn't utilized by her, like why have it there, right? So this gives the same amount of agility. Yes, it gives less HP, but I get that big evade. She's not a very like evade savvy unit, but that tacked on with Shiva, there's something there, right? Now this is one I catch a lot of shit about. Orlandeau, I legit run him with Vow and in Samurai, and I don't have him running both Thunder God and Blade Soul like I think a lot of people do. This makes him take a couple more hits, right? And the reason that I got this on here is so that she acts as a support unit. If you don't have this on anybody, she tends to run forward and try and use something like Holy or Comet or Meteor or something like that, and she just gets herself killed. All right, so the positioning here is important. So having the tank in the middle for what I have it set up for is good. And Samurai obviously gives you a lot of those evade buffs, okay, and he will use them, which again in testing is how we figured that out. We know what Vow does, and on Odin, yeah, like you could rock Golem, but he doesn't provide a lot of AP even when you have maxed out Resonance, and like his abilities, like this one provides Man-Eater and Slash. What more do you need in PvP with somebody like Orlandeau, which is like straight up Slash, especially when you have his sub as Samurai, and Man-Eater, they're all men. You're fighting all men, right? And then Ramza here. Ramza, this last position was actually really annoying to figure out, because if you put a unit there that's too fast or has too high of movability, they tend to move forward. And if you're familiar with the map, you know this third position, there's a rock to the left of it. And if you have a unit that isn't going to buff in some way, or has like move +1, whatever the ability calls that ninjas have that gives +2 and then jump 1, they don't tend to move around behind the rock and buff your tanks or whatnot, but they tend to move forward and do it. And when you do that, you get within range of the other team's pretty heavy attacks. Now he can take one or two, he can take one, right? But then that throws off the whole scheme here, because then your healer's not focusing on what they normally focus on, which is haste and buffs, but she has to move down and then do a heal, and it throws everything off. Like I said, trial and error. So in this current setup right here, I did have him originally with Shukuchi, but with that, he was doing what I basically just said, was he was moving forward and not coming around to buff. And so, again, the reason for this TMR, this is Medina's, this is a really good TMR, and he uses it. Like, I want to say it's the first thing he uses, and then uses Shout. Those two buffs on your entire team is legit a game changer, okay? So that's the reason for that. Now, you could run, you know, I mean, I guess you could really run whatever you want to, but that is a huge buff coming from Ramza. So, you know what? Let's just take a look at how this runs. Now, of course, if it's not ideal for him, but it's who I have max resonance with right now. Probably want to throw somebody on there. I don't know what his resonance is with this guy. Yes, he's still building it. Not going to rock with that. And I'm not even messing with those guys. Yeah, so that's why Ifrit's on there. All right, let's see how this works, right? Now, when you're building your teams, you also have to build for an opponent. You can't, like I said in the beginning of the video, you can't just build this one thing and be like, all right, it's going to kill everybody. No, you have to take into account what your strengths and weaknesses are, as well as the opponent. So the way that I figured out this comp works the best is when the opponent has a tank in slot number 1, right? So let's try, well, he's going to die because this tank is shit. But I want you to see the reaction, okay? So Everything I just kind of talked about with tank in slot 1, let's see how it goes. So again, this is based off of a lot of trial and error, and I think I turned the speed off so we can see how all this works. But Orlandeau being a tank is not a terrible idea. See, he moves to do evasion. That doesn't happen if you have a high movement unit there. And then, like I said, she rotates her haste. So units like Orlandeau and Stern and basically like any unit that when they're up against that wall there, down here south of where they are now, is going to be able to hit any unit that moves up in front of the rock on our side. So that's why you want to avoid that, because you're going to end up getting hit first, especially if you have the faster unit. And in most cases, like when you have a maxed out, you know, Ramza card, you're going to have the faster units, right? So I don't like where she moved right there, because if the person had an attacker up there, she would probably get hit pretty hard. But again, that's why I go after teams that have a tank in slot number 1, because they tend not to do that. They tend to hang back, all right? Not the smartest choice for a healer to go forward, right? But when you got haste on everybody, you're alright. See, I don't. So once your team's got haste on everybody, she will try it. Waste of a move. Waste of a move. Magic users are stupid. This is gonna hurt. Yep. Evade, baby. See, now he could pop. Yeah, he doesn't always do this. I don't know why, but he with the 2 buffs you get initially, and as many turns as it takes for them to get forward, he'll always have enough AP to drop his limit break. Now, it's not going to hurt Engel very much, but Ramza will be able to kill Orlandeau at least. Oh, look, he's fast enough to go again. See, if you're not rocking something like Battle-Wise or HP Plus, you're dead right there. Granted, this was a lower level team, but the movement and the concepts are still the same, right? So you learn your movements and how they react to the other team. If the tank was in a different position, they're going to move in different ways. And if the enemy tank was on the farthest right-hand side, there's a chance, I've seen Ramza, even with the move +1 set into motion, he'll still run up and hit that tank first, which throws everything off, right? He no longer uses the TMR. He no longer buffs the team. He's like out of play, and then the healer has to come and heal. All these small things can make or break a run, all right? So this works pretty well. I like this, okay? But again, this was built for teams with a tank in the first slot. Now, obviously, the fastest way to progress in the arena is by attacking somebody significantly higher than you, which in this case is 56. But this isn't a ranking based off of wins and losses. It's a ranking based off of points. So there's literally no shame in going through all this entire list and just finding like somebody that's not supposed to be there. And what I mean by that is, like, within this bracket, the, you know, 1 to 10 and then 10 to 100 bracket, finding somebody in there that's a definite win to keep your streak going, who cares? It's an auto battle, right? So keeping that streak alive is the thing that's going to allow you to get the most points the fastest. So avoiding teams that you either don't want to risk losing your streak to, or just don't like for whatever reason, like you don't like that unit, then find somebody weaker. Okay, all right. So let me try my second setup here, which is my tank in the middle. And the problem with Engel is he's slow as hell. Like, even with everything on him, 64 is not fantastic, but he can take some hits. All right, he's a beast. You're not gonna kill him quickly, especially when you have a healer. All right. Now, she does have that high movement stuff, but I took both of those abilities off. I'm sorry, the Shukuchi, right? Because what she does is, even with this TMR, is she just runs and jumps over the center like land block and immediately moves to attack. With that TMR, she will at least take one of her turns to come down, use the buff, maybe also use, does she have that? Yeah, maybe also use an evasion buff, but then I'll be honest, she does run forward and get herself killed. So again, playing with your compositions and how they react to the map is pretty important. So let's just find somebody else. So Oni, whatever. Okay, this isn't a very good team, but we're not worried about that. We're worried about the first steps here, okay? So again, trial and error, and you're going to have to do it, all right? So it's really the only way you're going to figure this stuff out. So Akea is definitely going to start with haste because she's the fastest. That right there is key, okay? Putting that on everybody at the beginning of the battle will change the battle. And if she's got Shikuchi on, or she doesn't have a TMR with an active ability like that, she's just going to run up, jump the center point here, and start attacking people. And if she doesn't have her agility buffs or evasion buffs on, she's going to get herself killed, and then it's 2 versus 3, and you don't want to do all that, right? Good move. I like it. I don't know if she's going to be able to get haste on Shadowlynx. Maybe. This team's going to lose whether or not Shadowlynx gets killed in the first round or not, but their first movements are the same regardless of who's on the other side there. See, I don't like that they use this stuff and then go across. Like, that's how you get in trouble. That's an AI no-no. But that's not going to be something you're going to be able to control even when they implement the quality of life that lets you enable and disable certain abilities during autoplay. That's not. They're still going to use their buffs and then move forward, which is ridiculous. Oh, they're in a good place to get, yeah. So she's going to have a hard time killing tanks, right? And that's who they're going to target first. And if you need to know who the tank is, obviously it's going to be someone like Engel or Mont or Thancred. But you can always check the other team's information before you hit battle on them by just long holding on them. And I'll show you guys how to do that. So Flare's a good ability to use against him because he's weak against magic. But they're weak, so I'll be alright. Engel can kill them. Yeah, that'll do it. And so right now, I kind of wish she would move into position and throw a Comet or Holy or something at that unit, but AI has their priorities, and since she's a support unit with haste, and I had somebody with high damage, that happens. And that being said, you saw that heal was around 2,900. That's why I keep my Engel's faith about halfway full, okay? The more faith on a unit being healed, the more they're going to benefit from that. Now she's back to using haste. So using something like Kier or Kiriga or even her limit break on Engel that had 30 faith, 30 faith, that heal was only like 1,900. So you're talking about 1,000 hit points difference, and on somebody like Engel with a lot of passive defense buffs, that 1,000 hit points can be a few hits, especially if he uses his reaction ability. Alright? Now, if you have a team that is slow, meaning they don't move very fast, it might not be a bad idea for you to go against the team that has high movability and high agility. Just like you saw Shadowlynx in the previous battle, what she did is she used a buff and then moved forward. So if you have a team that's slow but is a heavy hitter or can take a hit or two, aiming for a team that's just straight up attack can be a good thing. Now let me see if I can find one. And I'll show you what I mean by long holding to check out what their stuff is like. So I'll just do this one. So if you long hold on it, you can see that this guy has Vow of Love. Okay, so who are your units going to attack first? This guy right here. The only time they won't is if the other units that the enemy has with him are something like Shadowlynx or Stern or even Ketone that has high movability. They're going to come across the map, and if they get too close to you, like, your units will attack them before going after the Engelburt that's all the way in the back. Okay, so don't think that that Vow being on your unit means that they're going to bypass everybody to get to him. Only when they're in close proximity. Okay, so something to think about. And it's no wonder this person was easy to kill. They don't have... Can you check the status of their cards? No, you can't, but what you can do is you can check the buffs that come from and get an idea of how strong they are. So that's not very high at all. Alright, anyway. Now I'm going to go ahead and kill my streak here and just kind of show you how this is going to work. Like, and I just want to, if you guys are doing this, change. Alright? So what I have here is I basically took everybody and I built them, and I got to change this, I built them for maximum damage. Okay? I could get a little bit more if I had a slash and more attack unit on here. Same thing here. What do I got him set to? So Shikuchi Ninja, that's good. And I don't like... I'll show you what he does when you have this on here, right? This dude is just going to run straight for... And he's going to get himself killed, all right? So this is basically what I see a lot of newer people doing is, like, not taking into account the enemy team's composition and just getting that attack number as high as possible. Or if they're a magic team, like, magic as high as possible. So that's definitely not the best course of action for a lot of this stuff. That being said, the team that I have built is definitely heavy on like magic damage, meaning that they take a lot of magic damage. So somebody like Engelburt or even Orlandeau as your tank, like, stay away from teams that have magic, right? A lot of the magic users can get one shot, but you don't even really want to take that risk. And it's kind of the same thing with ranged units. In a team like this that's basically a bunch of glass cannons, if they move in the wrong place, which they're probably going to do here, they're going to get killed first. All right, they're just going to get too close. They can hit hard, but the term glass cannon is like embodied by Stern. He's a beast, but he's going to die in one hit. All right, let me just pick whoever the hell this is. All right, so this, I hate this comp. This is annoying. This is like all tanks. If they do actually target Engelburt first, they're not going to be able to do too much damage to him because he's Engelburt and you're all slash damage, right? So this is me sacrificing my win streak to show you that just building the biggest powerhouse possible is not the best course of action. And Ramza having a different passive ability is going to act a different way. And now, let's move forward. Yeah. That doesn't miss. That's death. I say this, and now my team wins. Right? Like that. Ain't that the way it goes? Either way, it's not the best idea. Stern can hit hard, but he's not going to do too much. Yep. If my Orlandeau would get over there, I could actually win this one. What is he charging up? If that's a buff, I'm going to laugh. Oh. Okay. I didn't realize Blasting Zone required a charge. Triple blow. I like that. Orlandeau, go kill him. I shouldn't have said this team's gonna die. But ain't that how it goes, right? Yeah, you're dead. And now Thinker can't do shit. Yeah, you're definitely dead now. Ramza and then Thinker. And then Ramza again. Pfft, bye. He's built to tank too. You see that didn't do shit to him? Alright, Ramza. What you got? Oh, do not let him get that heal. He's gonna get that crystal, watch. Smart. Doesn't it seem like the enemy team always does that, but yours never does? And now he's dead. And the team I told you guys was going to lose won. But anyway, you did see how right off the bat here, who was it? Stern dodged that first attack from that Orlandeau. He doesn't dodge that, and this is an L. Yeah, those are some of the basics for PvP in auto battle. Now, if you're doing manual battle, a lot of this goes out the window. If you put a tank in there with Val, like, there's nothing requiring the enemy team to go and attack them first. So don't think that, right? Like, that's simple. You guys already know that. But that's a different ball game. Okay. So I hope this answered a lot of questions. If you guys have any other questions about this, you guys have seen my lineup before. I'll show it to you guys again. I did get Gilgan at 99. Dude is a beast. The next video I'm about to make is actually how Slash plus effect units. We'll take a look at that with him. But if we just take a look at all my units here, if there's anything that you guys want to see, testing in any arena, testing in PvE content, I'm really waiting for those raids to come out and the tower. I'm gonna be all over that. I love PvE. PvP auto is like meh. And I have them all maxed out, meaning mostly job 15s. Obviously, I have all their TMRs, right? And the only thing that I'm really lacking is the equipment, and it's because I refuse to build +5s when it's not guaranteed to be the one that I want, right? So this is the only card I got maxed out. It's awesome. Love it. It's what makes you faster than everybody else. She, I'm thinking, is going to be next just because of her passive. But I can't really decide because, as you can see, I got a couple here that I can 4-star. It really depends. But anyway, take a look at that stuff. Take a look at my units. I am in the works of making a, we'll just call it free-to-play. But all it is units that are MR, right? And I'm capping them out at level 70 to try and simulate, for a lot of people have asked me, can you do some free-to-play stuff? How something like this does in like PvP content and PvE content, right? So that's what I'm doing there. Outside of all that stuff, talking mostly about PvP, if you guys have any questions, please let me know in the comment section. If I didn't answer something, or if there's a tip or trick that you guys figured out, let me know. I'm still learning. That's what I do, all right? I'm no expert. I just spent a lot of money, right? Anyway, y'all take care.